Hey guys, here's a short track guide for the Mazda MX5 Cup at the WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Now before we get to the hot lap, I just want to point out that we're using the baseline setup in game. We're also using the same settings as the Season 2 Week 12 information, as it is June 4th in game at around 8 a.m. and we have around 17% track usage and it's 78 degrees in game. So for this track guide, I'm going to show the first lap on board in full speed, and then I'm going to analyze the lap in a few different angles. Enjoy. So that was a 137.983, and now I'm going to do an analysis of the lap in slow motion on board. So as we start the lap, coming across the finish line, just focusing on the left-hand side of the track, trying to stay over to the left, just shortening the track, using the line of least resistance as we go over this crest here. And as we start going downhill, we're going to be moving over to the right-hand side of the track, looking at the track markers over here for our braking zone. So as we're going to be passing the 4 and this blue and white curb, we're not going to be braking there, but you can see this white horizontal line. That's always a good braking mark right a little bit before the 3, getting on the brakes. And full brake pressure immediately down to third and down to second, so hard threshold braking. And as we get up to the corner, trailing off the brakes, we're going to make this like a double apex. Initially down to second, and as we get wide up here down to first, trying to get to rotate the car, getting back on full throttle, and approaching the second apex here, upshifting to second at the end of those revs, and try not to get too wide on exit. Pretty easy to do that. So finally up to second here, and as we bring the car over to the left hand side, there's a pretty good braking point here. So instead of looking at the 2, I actually look at the curb here. You can see that it's actually a bit darker, and then it gets a bit lighter there. As the dark section ends, that's when I get on the brakes a little bit, staying in second gear, just trying to get the car rotated, but not too much. You don't want to hit this inside sausage curb, just enough to get on that blue and white. If you hit the sausage curb, it really upsets the car. Back to full throttle a little bit before the apex, just judging when that is. You can see as we kind of get to the blue and white, back to full throttle pretty fast. Don't really have to be patient on the throttle there. Using up all the white curbing on exit here. And a pretty similar approach, except instead of looking at when the dark patch ends, it's kind of when the blue ends. That's when we're getting off the throttle, turning in, just a small tap of the brakes. Again, don't want to hit the sausage curb, just getting this blue, and you can see I'm managing the throttle, trying to judge how much the car is rotating. Partial throttle, I think it's turning enough. You can get back to full throttle. If you feel it's understeering a bit, just get a little bit off the throttle there. Finally, using all the track on exit here. But yeah, the main focus, using those parts of the curb to judge when to turn it or when to brake. So for the first part, judging between the dark blue and the light blue, and the second part is just when that light blue ends. For this left-hander, looking at this white horizontal stripe again, good braking point there. 75 to 80% brake, and this is actually an interesting part because the engine braking is so strong here that you actually want to be super patient with the downshifts. Down to third, but really wait a long time till you get down to second there. So very slow with the downshifts. If you downshift too fast, you'll get a bit of oversteer, and that can cause you to hit this sausage curve. So just be patient because it'll slow down the car and also give you a bit of oversteer if you downshift too fast. So using that horizontal white line to judge your braking points. And as you climb up the hill here, kind of using like this 2 as a braking zone, try not to get too much of this curve on the inside, not too much runoff here, so just gotta be really cautious, just focusing on your exit speed through here. Really good opportunity to make a move if someone messes up that corner, really easy to make a mistake through there. And as you ride up this hill, pretty simple braking zone. You can basically, as you get to the top of this hill, this horizontal line again, or just around the 3, either one, whichever you're comfortable with, around 80% or full brake pressure. Down to second, you can see just how much I'm having to mess with the wheel because the light's really, the front of the car is really light at the top of the hill here. And really just trying to guess down this corkscrew. You really want to turn as much as you can on this left-hander using all the curb, and then partial throttle through here, and as soon as you move over to the left, you can correct down to the right and using all this curb down here. Up to second through here, and this is a really long left-hander. You want to stay over to the right, that way you can get a nice approach. And we're full throttle early, but then we're partial throttle through the second part, just that way we can get a nice turn in, make sure the car doesn't understeer through this section. Again, try not to get that sausage curb, just getting a little bit of the blue and white curb, and finally getting back to full throttle once we get the car, once we get the feeling of the balance of the car. Coming up to the penultimate corner here, letting off around the 2, then tap of the brake, and this is an interesting corner. Downshift to second, but the revs are not good, so you have to outshift to third early. So it's basically second gear downshift just to get some rotation, but then immediately upshift to third because basically you get bogged down if you stay in second for the exit through here. So up to third, coming to the final corner through here, looking at the 2 or a little bit after the 2, up to downshift, down to second, again down to first early here. This one that's pretty flat sausage curve, so hitting it won't upset your car too much. You can use all the AstroTurf on the right if need to be. You won't get a 1X through there. Coming to the line. And that's a lap at Laguna Seca. So now I'm going to show the lap in chase view in full speed and then just go in slow motion at a few parts that I feel are important to point out. So once again, half speed here, you can see braking at that white line horizontal, and then you can see just how far out we go with this double apex. Not really ever getting to that blue and white line, kind of getting in the middle of the track here, full rotation of the wheel, slightly unwinding it as we get out of the second corner through there, but really important that you're trying to make that a wide double apex corner because your exit with staying out wide there instead of just hugging it tightly is much better. So yeah, hugging it is kind of just going to bog down your exit speed. Going out wide is really going to help you there. As we approach this left-hander, you can see at the 2, turn in, getting up to that blue, but not the sausage curb, and then using all the runoff to the right here. As we approach the corkscrew, braking around the 3, down to second, down to first quite fast, turning in using all the blue on the left, and then correcting over to the right to get down the hill. And over to this over to the right for this left-hander. You can hear the early upshift there to third. coming to the line, and that's a lap of Laguna Seca. So hopefully this lap guide was helpful, and yeah, just be careful about those sausage curves. Those can upset your lap. If you can just keep it clean, I think you'll do really good around here. Anyways, here are the track settings that were used. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.